No, I'm not wearing a hat. Excuse me one moment. No, I'm not wearing a hat. It makes me look ridiculous. I'm so sorry. So, hello and welcome to a seasonal edition of Ask God. It's very nice to be. I do trust that you're all well. Just before we start, Jennifer Marketing, yes, she actually sends us season's greetings from the bottom of her wee heart, and she says, and also, yes, as you would guess, there is a Christmas promotion going on just at the moment. So basically, it's called the Merry Blissmas campaign. Basically, if you send your questions in and we read it out, then you win one of these Merry Blissmas cups, and it says Merry Christmas from all here at Bliss HQ, basically. But you got to send your question in. If we read it out, you win one of these nice mug type things, basically. So there is that. Then there's something else which is going to be released at the end of this program, but I'll keep you abreast of that in just a moment. Actually, I should have added onto that they should provide their real names, because it'd make a nice change, would it? Everyone keeps sending these fake names in. It's supposed to be funny, I suppose. But yes, I think we should mention it has to be their real name. Yeah, should get some decent responses then, I suppose. Anyway, so we have that. Anyway, so we'll mention the other thing at the end of the program, the Advent promotion, shall we say. So moving swiftly on to our first question, it's from Bob Slay. Bob Slay, for crying out loud, really. These made-up names are getting worse, they really are. So he asked this question: what's the relevance of gold, Frankenstein, and Frankenstein? I think I know what he means. I'll come to that in a minute. So, what's the relevance of gold, Frankenstein, and myrrh that the wise men brought Jesus? Wise men? What wise men? I think he means the wise men and frankincense. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, the gold, frankincense, and myrrh brought by the wise men to the infant Christ. Well, anyway, in short, Bob, if that is your real name, basically, the gold was to represent the kingly nature of Christ, and then we had frankincense, which was to represent his priesthood and the religious aspects to his life, or spiritual, as some people might purport to call it. And then the myrrh was indicative of what was to happen to him with the dying and being embalmed with myrrh, and then rising again, basically. So there's no Frankenstein there. There's a little bit later with Mary Shelley, I do believe. Yes, that's right. And Frankenstein wasn't the monster, I hasten to add. Most people do think that Frankenstein was the monster, and he wasn't. In fact, I think the monster had another name, didn't he? I think he had another name. Yes. Was it Arnold? Arnold, something like that, I don't know. Anyway, so Frankenstein was the doctor who created the monster thing. Made up all different body parts and stuff like that. Must have made an awful mess, actually. Doesn't bear thinking about. We just use atoms, don't we, and work from the bottom up. But Frankenstein is bits and pieces of everything, wasn't it? Yes, I suppose you could say it's a bit like that chap. What's his name? Yes. I can't think of his name in a minute. That's it, Donald Trump. There we go. Anyway, so I hope that answers your question, Bob Slay. Next, we have Wayne Deer. You don't get it. Reindeer. Forget it. Anyway, so Wayne, if that is your real name, gets worse, doesn't it? He asks, why do we have Christmas trees? Well, initially the idea of the evergreen tree was it goes back an awful long way, even before the Roman times, to be honest with you. And then the Romans embraced this idea of bringing evergreen into the house, and in fact they used to leave little gifts for their gods, as they used to do, as it was the tradition back then. And the evergreen was a symbol of hope springing in spring, strangely enough. So it was a reminder that things are renewed, basically. And then basically what happened is that the Romans had their Saturnalia, that's what they call it. When the Christian ideas floated around, basically they decided to do away with the pagan festivals and put the Roman Catholics stamp on these things, and so basically they created a mass for Christ, like they do with other saints' days. But the mass for Christ was on the winter equinox. Yeah, it's the winter equinox, isn't it? Yeah, it's not the autumn one, is it? No, it's not the vernal equinox. It's the Christmas equinox, basically, and the solstice, as is more commonly known. So basically, that idea sort of carried on through, and the Christians took up on it, and they began to celebrate Christmas. And they used to use evergreen trees to sort of as a symbol of spring coming after the dead of winter, basically. Then, of course, in the Middle Ages, people started thinking about what they call the Eden tree, which is sort of a representation of paradise, and again it was indicative of spring, showing the hope of things to come and rebirth and stuff like that. Then a lot later, in Victorian times, there was a picture that was placed in a newspaper, I do believe, of Queen Victoria and her husband, Prince Albert, and they were standing in front of a rather large Christmas tree, basically. And it became very popular, and people like to keep up with the Joneses, don't they? So what they did is that people started to copy, and so you got these decorated trees more prevalent inside the homes, which is again just a sort of a spur on from the old medieval Eden paradise tree thing, really. So it's often been the case, and the Christians have just put their stamp on it, really, and then the modern world has put its other stamp on it as well, hasn't it? Making it all commercial and stuff like that. Yes, I think it's a bit commercial. Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with me as well. But a lot of people do enjoy Christmas, don't they? I enjoy Christmas for obvious reasons. Next, though, Carol Singer. Carol Singer. Come on. She asked, why are there flying reindeer? Well, no, not flying rain deer, but flying reindeer. You get it, don't you? No, not rain, then deer. It's not two words. It's what I'll explain to you later. So Carol, if that's your name, she asked, why do we get the idea of flying reindeer, basically? Well, it comes from the Scandinavian idea of travel. Initially, they had St. Nicholas, which was their version of the St. Nicholas story, and they had him sitting on his sleigh with bags of presents, going around to give it out to good children and adults alike. And the flying bit came along after. Well, it's very peculiar, actually. There's certain type of mushrooms and fungi that grow in their areas in Scandinavia, and that is like psilocybin and fly agaric and stuff like that. And if you take these things, they're hallucinogenic, basically. But what used to happen is that the back then, way back then, hundreds of years ago, they realised it's a bit too intense when you ate the mushrooms, so they used to give the mushrooms to the reindeer, and then the reindeer would filter it, basically, and they would collect the urine of the reindeer and drink it. Yes, I know it does sound utterly revolting, doesn't it? Apparently it tastes a bit like lager, though, I'm told. Yes, lager. Well, I don't know what type. No, I've got a clue, really. Anyway, so the association with, psychedelic experiences and Christmas sort of built up this idea of flying reindeer. And that's how we get that, basically. Next, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Well, a Merry Christmas to you too, Mary, if that's your real name, but I don't think it is. No, I don't know either. She asks, what are the names of the reindeer? Well, so come on. What's the names of the reindeer? Can you remember? Doner Kebab, Vixen, Doc, Sleepy, Mo, and Larry. No, I think you're confusing the Seven Dwarfs, the Three Stooges, and the reindeer there. Have another go. Go on. The Doner Kebab, Vixen, Comet. That's a shocker, isn't it? No, Larry and Mo weren't in there either. No, I'll put you out your misery, actually. So we've got 8 reindeer, basically, who were created by Clement Clark Moore, whose father, it might interest you to know, was there amongst the inauguration of George Washington, the first American official president, basically. Anyway, his son was called Clement Clark Moore, and he wrote a very famous poem now called "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And in the poem, he mentions Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, and Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donna, and Blitzen. So no Donna Kebab there. No Donna Kebab. No Donna Kebab. It's just Donna and Blitzen from the German for thunder and lightning, basically. Then Rudolph, who you forgot actually. I'm surprised you didn't remember old Rudolph. No, but Rudolph was a much later addition. He came along when Bob May wrote this autobiography, basically. And Bob May was very much down on his luck, and he wrote this story, and he portrayed himself as a little reindeer in it, basically, with a big red shiny nose. And he was writing it for his daughter, who was quite poorly, from what I recall. And then, because he didn't have much money, he presented her with this story in a book for Christmas, and later on become quite renowned. And people even sang a song about it, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, as you probably recall. So there we go. So overall, there's sort of 9 reindeer really, even though there's really 8. And Rudolph was a much later addition. He's not really classed as one of the ones who's with Santa, even though we do associate him with Santa now. You get what I mean, don't you? Yes, you get what I mean. Anyway, so moving on. Joy are nowhere. Joy are nowhere. You don't get that. No, I'll forgive you for that one. You might not get that one. Joyeux Noël is the French. It's the French for Merry Christmas, and Merry Christmas to you, French people. And so Joyeux Noël. I'll forgive you for that one. So Joy, if that's your name, asks, when was Christmas first celebrated? Well, as I say, the solstice, the winter solstice, has always been celebrated pretty much across the world, like different races and people of varying spiritual persuasions. But around about 350 AD, roughly, the Christian idea of Christmas came about, and people started to note it well at that point. And as I say, it replaced the pagan ceremonies and celebrations, basically. People like the idea of giving gifts, though, as the Romans used to do to their gods and close friends and things like that. And so from that we get the idea of gifts at Christmas and the evergreen trees in the house, as I say earlier. And it's really just a metaphor. And so the Christian church thought, Christmas was actually probably the right time to have that sort of metaphor come across about, the winter time when things die off, and in spring things come back to life, don't they? So it sort of got formally acknowledged around about 350 AD, basically. So next we have Halle Berry. Halle Berry? Oh, Halle Berry. They don't know who Halle Berry is. You don't know who Halle Berry is. She's that rather attractive girl. Was in James Bond. Yeah, she was in one of the James Bond films. Yeah. No, you don't know? I'll let you watch a film later on. Oh, she's quite good, actually. Yeah. Anyway, so she asks, what's your favourite Christmas carol? Well, rather like A Little Town of Bethlehem. Oh, come Emmanuel. That's rather favourite of mine. Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Rather like that. And any you like in particular? Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. That's not a hymn or a carol, actually. No, that's not a hymn or a carol. No, it's definitely not. Rocking Around the Christmas Tree isn't, is it? No, I'm right. I am right. It's a popular Christmas song. Yeah, it's a popular song, a pop song, whatever you want to call it. But, yeah, I'm right. I know I'm right. Yeah, it must be something else that you like. Anyway, I Saw Mummy Kissing Santa Claus. That's not a Christmas carol either, is it? No, it's not. No, I think you're just being difficult. Anyway, I that one. Actually, the Little Drummer Boy's rather good. I like the version that I think it's Bing Crosby did it, didn't he, with David Bowie. Yeah, actually, we could get them round for Christmas this year, couldn't we? And because they're both up here now, and have a bit of a sing along with them. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. Anyway, yes, Joy to the World. Yeah, now they're getting the idea. So Joy to the World. That's a brilliant song. Brilliant. I love that. Yeah, Joy to the World. Brilliant. And our last question, last but not means least, is from Selma Kidneys. Selma Kidney. Selma Kidney. sell my kidney. Mind you, I can understand I can understand that actually. It's a bit of a metaphor there, isn't it? You have to sell your kidney for the money these days to buy the Christmas present for your kidlings, don't you? Yeah, absolutely. I understand it. Yeah. Well, there we go. So anyway, Sell My Kidney asks, what will you be having for Christmas dinner? Oh, we have a variety of things really. Yeah, I like turkey. I know you don't like turkey, but I like turkey. With lots of cranberry sauce and a bit of stuffing. Bit of pork maybe. Some beef, some roast potatoes, some carrots, roasted carrots. I like roasted carrots. Yes, you like roasted carrots as well, don't you? Yes, and peas. Oh yes, do love a good pea. Yes, a good pea is a rather nice, a humble pea. Very underrated vegetable, I feel. And sprouts, yes. The jury's out on sprouts, isn't it? Do you like them? Don't you like them? I'm rather a fan of the old sprout myself. Do you like sprouts? Yeah, I like them as well. I don't think the other wings like sprout that much, no. And it does leave a bit of a nasty smell lingering around for a few days, if you know what I mean. After Christmas Day. But there we go. So that's the questions for today. So now we have a massive sort of drum roll type thing for our new initiative and promotion. So it's simply called Wings from the King. Now, apparently I'm the king. I'm not a king, but I know what people mean. But I know you're just being nice, really, aren't you? So we're offering a set of wings to those who sign up. Although I am reassured we're not playing up to stereotypes, but we are. The focus group. Don't get me started about the focus group. So the focus group, they've come up with these ideas because we're in competition now with Nirvana.org. Nirvana's rebranded itself basically a bit like we have. We used to be Heaven, now we're just Bliss. There's Nirvana a couple of doors up, and they've rebranded as well. So they're no longer Nirvana, they're Nirvana.org now. And they're doing this incentive with the monkey, aren't they? The little capuchin monkey type thing. Yeah, it's rather good. I like the advert myself, even though I'm not persuaded to become that way inclined, basically. So yes, we've got this Wings from the King. So if you sign up for a limited time only, we are offering a free pair of wings to those who sign up. So the tagline for this, I'll try and do it. It's all I can do to grit my teeth through it, to be honest with you. Anyway, so it says, if you want the bling, come join the king. That's me, apparently. Because up here in Bliss, we're offering wings. So there you go. It sounds like Kentucky Fried Chicken or something, doesn't it? With the hot wings or something like that. There's not those sort of wings. You don't eat these. You can wear them. Like I say, I'm told we're not playing up to stereotypes, but we give away gowns, halos, wings and hearts and stuff like that. And it does make you wonder, doesn't it, really? Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, so as I say, if you want the bling, come join the king. Me, apparently. Because up here in Bliss, we're offering wings. So there you go. Then we've got the standard other promotions we're doing at the minute with the June Song discount and the Blessometer pegs, which is peace, eternity, grace and salvation. Then we've got Merry Blissmas, as I mentioned earlier to you. Then we've got the initiatives, which are basically the rebranding of forgiveness. It's now called soul cleansing. No, don't get me started on that. Forgiveness was so much simpler. It's just forgiveness, isn't it? But now we're calling it soul cleanser. You know, comes in a tin or something, I don't know. Anyway, so then we got, what's the other one? Pass it on, that's right, pass it on. So with pass it on, we send out these parchment type things. You ask for a blessing, we send it down to you. You pass the blessing on so others can reap the benefits of that blessing too, but you get to keep this rather nice parchment, which simply says, I didn't get stressed, I got blessed. And all words to that effect, basically. So there we go with that. I think that's everything, isn't it? There's so much to get through these days, isn't it? Awful lot to get through these days. It really is. Old Janice is working overtime, and as I say, this focus group. Don't really started with it. Anyway, this focus group, they're coming up with new ideas because we're in competition. Janice has been quite fretful about the whole competition we got now with Nirvana.org. It's become very real for her, basically. Not that it wasn't real all the time, you know. But I get used to these things. You see it from time to time. You know, they just go on for eons, and then they sort of give it a bit of rest. Because with the Hindu, if you remember, they just got these cycles, haven't they? Where it's all like, you know, so many eons of this, so many eons of that, and eventually they just sort of, have a bit of a change of heart and everything gets renewed, and there we go. It's just their version of what we call recycling, basically. So there we go. So like I say, keep your questions coming in. By all means, we do love to receive your questions, and if you get your question read out in this Advent period, you get yourself a free mug that says Merry Christmas from everyone here at Bliss. And that's about it, really. So don't forget to like our Facebook page. Keep your questions coming in, obviously, by email, text message, phone, prayer as well. That's pretty good. And also we've got the YouTube channel. We've got over 1,000 views on one of our videos now, which is rather good. So thank you very much for all those who are watching. We do pray that you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that's about it, I think, isn't it? Yeah, about it. It's about it, really. So peace be with you. Have a very good Christmas time, and season's greetings to every single one of you. God bless. Bye for now. Yeah, so there we go. That's the Christmas special done.